All right, everyone. CNN's Amanpour and basically everyone else, they're very much opposed to being called the fake news media. Oh my God, it's an attack upon democracy. It's an attack upon the First Amendment. It's an attack upon a free press, mean tweets and stuff like that. I'm thinking to myself, it's very funny that some people in this country have begun to deny the existence of propaganda and don't understand that these groups are for-profit corporations. CNN is nothing more than a corporation sub-owned by a parent firm that's multinational. It's not even a strictly US-based firm. It's like an octopus. You're looking at one of the tentacles, but there's a whole other octopus attached to it. It's not just the tentacle. That's basically what CNN is, and that's an old image. Like, they used to make that trope about, like, the British Empire, and they would always depict it like the British octopus, and it had its tentacles, like, coiled around these different colonial assets and stuff. That is a little bit the way the modern business structure tends to work at the top level, though. What ends up happening is you have a weird situation where the ad firms that are buying ads, they're partnered with these companies. Their competitors are being defamed by that particular media group with fake news. It happens all the time to the independent media, too. It was just like when, I think it was the New York Times in this case, when the New York Times ran its hit piece on InfoWars and then leaned on YouTube through advertisers, groups that are in some cases partnered with the New York Times and do things with them, leaned on them to sort of raise a stink and get, InfoWars banned. And at first, YouTube half-assed it the same way they did with Tommy Robinson and just restricting his entire channel, saying, well, no, he didn't break the rules, we're not going to ban him. But then they said, oh, yeah, we did find unrelated shit that he did, and so we restricted him from that. And then while he was like, Alex Jones' main channel was temporarily down, because the same studio is used for some of the other people from InfoWars, they ended up banning a bunch of accounts because, well, you're not allowed to stream, on YouTube when you're temporarily suspended. The 2-week suspension that I think now is shorter than that, actually, for the second strike, which is funny. I find it funny now that they have that new system where you get a warning before you get any strikes, like it's a one-time thing. Shouldn't that necessitate that you revive some of those accounts that would not otherwise have been banned because they would have only gotten a warning? I think that would be fair. I think that YouTube should allow people who lost accounts over the last couple of years reapply and say, look, I want my extra on strike, so to speak. I want reparations for having been abused by your advertisers. But as far as the fake news media goes, there's all sorts of objectively false stuff that gets said on these groups every single day. It's like CNN during the election with regards to WikiLeaks. This is the best example that I can give, the one that I at least know about. On CNN, they said it's illegal to read WikiLeaks releases. They told their audience, don't look at these, don't open the files, you let us handle it because it's unlawful, it's stolen property, it's like classified or some shit. That was never true. It was objectively untrue. They never retracted that statement. They never apologized for that statement and continued to persist as though it were true in hopes that their audience wouldn't read the releases and would just pay attention to CNN. Part of that is profit motive. If people are doing their own digging, of course, they're not reading CNN's analysis as much. That's the other flip side of it, is a lot of their attacks on like independent journalism and stuff are actually attacks on they're trying to keep people from doing their own digging because they'll realize that they don't need the corporate media so much anymore. You can get analysis from any of a million YouTubers as well as people on a bunch of other websites too. You can go to BitChute for your analysis. You can pay attention to what's going on Gab or Twitter, or go to Minds or some Facebook group or something. Fucking Instagram, a Snapchat. Anything, basically. You don't need CNN to tell you what your reality is. But CNN doesn't want you to think that way. CNN and all these other groups, and Fox is right along with them. We've seen it time and time again. These are corporations. They primarily are looking out for number one, which is them. They're looking out for their wallet. They're looking out for their money. Of course they're going to lie because they can get away with it. They're uniquely able to do that because under, the auspices of free press, they don't even have to disclose all these sometimes non-existent anonymous sources. So what can happen is the corporate media doesn't like let's say a content creator. So they concoct a story that an anonymous source, which they planted to begin with, has given them information on this person, and they make a report on it. They consider it to be newsworthy. As long as they don't make any declarative statements like, well, we know that this person is actually abuses his dogs or something like that, some crazy example. As long as they don't make declarative statements, it's very difficult to actually prove malintent. It would be very difficult because you can't force them to divulge their source. under journalistic privilege. And so they can defame the president as easily as they can defame you or I. And they do all the time. I've been defamed by some of these groups. BuzzFeed name dropped me in an article, said I was far right. Well, that's objectively untrue. But I mean, what are you going to do about it? Therein lies the problem. It's very difficult to do anything other than argue against them. So what they're trying to do is destroy any creative competitors like independent platforms and stuff. They hate all tech. They hate Gab the most of all, especially after Dissenter. They hate independent content creators. What they really hated were people that were going on the ground and collecting news firsthand. That's why that pool of people got abused way more and still is. That's why InfoWars is offline. That's why Gavin's been banned off basically every account. That's why Crowder faces censorship issues. The list goes on, and Milo, certainly Loomer, Lauren Southern. All these people keep getting abused, and they have that one thing in common. They do on-the-ground sort of first-hand stuff. If you were to take your smartphone and start, streaming local news events or something, probably you'd face more censorship too. It's all about the money. They don't want competition. Because if other people are doing that and they're doing it independently, it'll also be more interesting. And therein lies the problem. So they try to preemptively smear people with labels like, bigot and stuff, but they are fake news. Most of what they're saying about their competitors is untrue. And that's the reason that they're saying it, to try to stymie competition. That's about all. Peace out.